brother Boogie.
Good morning, Professor.
I was like, what's your name? Anton. Yeah, when we were getting your black belt.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, I was always known as Anton, but then like the story behind A Boogie with the hoodie was like my students, like they try to follow me on social media, and I'm a teacher. I'm a classroom teacher, middle school.
Middle
Like,
school.
They're like, oh, like, do you have Instagram? I was like, no, I don't. And they're like, they try to type in Anton Aquino, and they won't find me. I was like, all right, let's go with A Boogie with the hoodie. And we know that there's a rapper out there named Boogie with the hoodie, but then AA is Anton Aquino, so A Boogie with a hoodie. So like, all right, the subliminal message in there.
Right. How long have you been a teacher for?
14 years. So the same amount of time I started training jiu-jitsu, I started teaching.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Why did you want to become a teacher?
It wasn't my calling. So like my initial thing was I went to school for marketing and business administration.
Okay.
And then I was at this elementary school that I was the after-school coordinator.
Oh, okay.
Right. So then it led into the computer teacher, and then there was an opportunity to teach. And then the principal asked me, "Hey, do you want to be a classroom teacher?" I was like, "That's something new, right?" And I was like, "Okay, well, that was in 2010." And then it was like, found the passion for teaching. I always had the passion and patience for kids, and going back to elementary school, I was like, I can teach these kids. And like something that called me was my very first male teacher in 7th grade. His teaching style was like gravitational. I was like,
7th grade, huh?
Yeah.
You're a middle school teacher.
I was a middle school teacher, and my middle school teacher that inspired me to become a teacher. I was like, that's pretty cool.
What about it? What do you remember that inspired you?
The way he managed the class, it was like very, very like military-ish, but then he also made it fun, engaging for young boys to like learn from not just a teacher, but a male teacher. Like a male teacher is like kind of almost close to rare, especially in middle school. You look at the occupation of a teacher, it's majority female. And I was like, I can make that difference. I can be that difference of impacting a student's mind, teaching them lifelong lessons that they're going to use throughout their life. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I love all the kids' ages, right? But I think maybe because my kids are teenagers, but just that middle school, high school age, I don't know, having a special connection with that, because the kids can go one way or the other.
Yeah, it's pretty like interesting because I have 2 kids. One is 21, one is 6. So you think you made all the mistakes with the 21-year-old, but then the 6-year-old, you're like, I'm making, if not more mistakes with this one than the other one. I was like, all right,
Overthinking it.
Yeah, overthinking it, and it's just like, as a parent, it's totally different because my son goes to the same school I teach at.
Oh wow!
So it's like,
that's interesting.
That's the favoritism. No, it's not favoritism. Like he's in his own grade. Like I don't have to teach him till he gets to my grade level. So it's like, all right.
Yeah, my mom was a teacher, so my sister was going to that same high school where she taught at.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I think she was even tougher on her if she was around. I'm sure it's gonna be the same.
Yeah, pretty tough.
Like higher standards, you know.
Like,
expecting higher standards.
A lot more standards, like, and my expectations for him because he is active. He is like an athlete, and he knows that academics is first. At 6 years old, you try to emphasize like, hey, you're a busy kid. And like yesterday, for example, we had baseball in the morning, then we had swimming in the afternoon. I was like, from San Gabriel Valley to San Fernando Valley, we had to make that drive. I was like, you're busy. A busy kid, 6 years old. And I was like, all right, cool.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. What sports did you play?
So in elementary school, I played flag football and basketball. And then in high school, I pursued football.
Football, okay.
So I played for Cathedral High School. That's a all-boy high school in Chinatown.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, I mean, out of my siblings, so I have
L.A., huh? Born and raised.
Born and raised in L.A. So then I have 3 brothers. So I have an older brother. Then it's me. Then the twins. I can say that I was the most like athletic one. the sports kid. And yeah, sports was my therapy. Like I would go to like practice, and then I would walk to practice, Parks and Recs too, and then
Parks and Recs, huh?
yeah. So I played in Silver Lake, and then yeah. So then the outlet was sports. I was like, if I can want to get my aggression out, it would be sports. I was like, all right, cool. So then yeah, I mean, played high school ball for 4 years, and then college there was no football team, so then we just had to play adult leagues. So like, play Top Gun, flag football, cool. Play Turkey Bowl, like Turkey Bowl's coming up next Thursday, and that's tackle football without pads and helmets. I was like, all right, cool, like let's get a concussion, get a concussion for Thanksgiving. Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. And then, did you ever do any growing up? Did you ever do any combat things or?
So like, no, not really.
Watch UFC or anything?
I watched UFC right when it started.
Came out, okay.
And came out. It was like, oh, bar fighting. It was like, oh, the mixed weight class. Like, oh, guys with no gloves. It's a bar fight, right? And then I remember my uncle showing me the tapes. So like, oh, we go to his house and watch this. I was like, what is this? Oh, it's like, it's not wrestling. It's not like WWF stuff. It's like all full blown like knuckles to the face.
How old were you at the?
I was
when you first saw it?
9.
9
years old. And
Okay,
I was like, all right, cool. Like, this is pretty interesting. And then,
and your uncle all passionate about it.
yeah, he was very passionate, but like, he was a type that he didn't look the part. He was like, you do martial arts? Like, no, yeah, I do. I was like, oh, cool. That's pretty interesting that you don't look like you would ever get in a fight in your life, but he was watching that. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And so, how did you find your way into the jiu-jitsu and martial art world?
The martial art world. So like, I like growing up, we watched Karate Kid, and everyone wanted to be a karate student, right?
Okay.
So then, like, my mom signed me up for like karate in the park. I was like, I got there, and I was like the only kid in there. I was like, this is boring. Like, when are we gonna get to punching and kicking? They're like, oh, you got to learn that over time. I was like, oh, this is boring. I'm not gonna do it. So then I stopped. Then back in 2010. My friends were like promoting this gym, like, oh, Lockdown MMA. It's opening up in Highland Park. So okay, cool. Like, let me check it out. And they had a free trial class, and it was under Mike Anchetta, who is a Von der Brago black belt. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, let me try out a free class, right? So then the free class was July 31st, 2010. I signed up for that school July 31st, 2010. So my first trial class, I signed up to be a student.
Okay.
And yeah, that's when it started. And I was with Mike for 11 years. So started train 2010, and I just progressively just got gravitated towards it. They say like it's like an addiction. Like, oh, this martial arts is an addiction. Like you have to have a passion for it. It's like, yeah, I mean, I didn't think much of it till I got dog whispered real quick. So like it was an MMA class, right?
Okay,
and it was like, all right, put the gloves on and then go battle, right? Fine. I probably like blasted through this guy. I put him through the drywall, like a big old hole in the drywall. I was like, damn. Then he looked at me, and Mike looked at me. He was like, all right, you're running with me. I was like, okay, cool. Right hook, boom, dropped me. I was like, oh damn. Like, grabbed his leg and he started like pounding. Like, oh dude, like, you're not gonna use strength again. You're gonna rely on technique. I was like, from that point on, I was like, cool. Like, dog whispered the crap out of me. I was like, all right. So then from that point on, it was just like, just rely on technique. Like, whatever I teach you guys, like, use it and apply it. All right, cool.
Don't spaz out.
Don't spaz out.
Focus on your technique.
Yeah, don't be that belt. Don't be that spazzy white belt. And then it's like,
It was like a MMA gym, right?
Yeah, it was
like,
an
but you
MMA
guys did grappling.
yeah, grappling. And then it was like, we started like dropping the MMA part of it because no one liked getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
No one liked getting punched in the face. I had to go to work the next day and it was like, oh, you have bruises on your face. Yeah, we were sparring. Like, oh, cool. Like,
Professor Joey was friends with Mike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Professor Joey's old school was SoCal MMA that was down the street from us. So I was like, all right. Yeah, so we were a small gym, but then we just had like about, it was like 40 students, like adults. But then like we made a name for ourselves back then. It was just, all right, that's when, yeah, for 11 years I was with them.
That's great.
till after COVID. So after COVID, like everyone was like focusing on, oh, you can't open up the gym. We were doing speakeasy jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
So like, oh, behind closed doors, don't say anything, don't post anything. Well, we'll do it. Yeah, so we did that.
Like a lot of people, yeah. Fight Club.
Yeah, Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club, you know?
Cool. And so how did you train all those years? What kept you coming back? What do you remember? What was your first submission?
So my first submission was a rear naked choke.
Okay.
That was like the go-to. And then what made me come back and like continue with it was just the heart, the passion of like the martial art. You know, you look at it and you see, if I can go back day one till now, I see the difference, right? I saw the
For you as a person?
as a person, as a martial artist, because
Your improvement.
like you want to see that improvement. Like I, for one, as a teacher, I rate myself at the end of the school year, and it's a 1%. They're like, why a 1%, Anton? I was like, it's a 1% because I can't improve 100%. There's no way. If I improve 1% as a teacher, I mean, I did my job, and I can check off the list. Like I did this. I made sure my students were prepared for their high school placement test. I made sure that my students in the 6th grade are ready for 7th grade. And that's what gets me involved with the martial art. It's like the passion for improvement, and you try to be better every single time you step on the mat. And you want to be a great person on and off the mat. Like outside the mats, outside the gym, you got to be a person that is easily to talk to and like be a good civilian. Like you want to help people out. I mean, like it's just like, it's crazy. Like I would never have thought that being a martial artist has improved me as a person. A better dad, a better husband.
How would do that, right? That effect that would have. What are some specific things, you know, that situations where you find like, man, because of that, I'm because of jiu-jitsu, I'm better here, better there.
I use jiu-jitsu as a coaching experience. I don't know if you know this, but when I was teaching, I was also coaching. So I was coaching flag football, track and field.
I didn't know that.
Basketball. Yeah, so like that was a passion of mine. It's like, oh, I can coach the sport. Even though I didn't play basketball as much, because I never had the height, but I can see that it works. Like if you know how to play the game, you understand the game.
Adapted to
it definitely tailors to you, and you can coach no matter what it is. And yeah, I mean that for me is the one thing that I can remember and recall that it makes me a better person. The coaching aspect of it. And if I
Makes
can,
you a better coach.
Yeah, if I can go into a class and then just learn from the professors or the instructors, I can help out another training partner of mine. That's what I think jiu-jitsu for the community betters the community. If you're able to help a person out, like the ones that don't know it, you can show them and try to help them learn, because at the end of the day, we're all learners. We all continue to learn. Just like students. They're always going to be different students, different learners. So as adults, we all have to be different learners too, and accept the fact that we all learn different.
Yeah, different type. There's different types of learning, right?
Yeah,
different types of learners.
Yeah.
So how did you find or legacy, or how did you come to legacy?
Okay, so legacy. So again, training with Mike for 11 years, there was this whole fallout, right? Like with relationships, there's fallouts. Then there was stuff that was going on outside the gym that we had no control over. And, you know, like information getting sent out, and being a student from an academy, my information was like obviously on docs, and like I'm a teacher. So I was like, I can't be associated with that because I'm a professional. Like I have a job, right? So then as an adult,
you get guilty by association, right?
So as an adult, like I talked to him and I was like, look, I gotta pause training with you. It's not your jiu-jitsu, it's the stuff that's happening outside, the distractions and everything else. I want to be able to come home to my wife and kids at the end of the day after training. I don't need to be like, oh, you're associated with this guy. Boom, like here's a get shot at. I was like, no, like for what? That's not my issue, right? So then I paused training, and then I went with his one and only black belt, Joe Teodoro. He is the resident black belt at Lionheart Jiu-Jitsu in Pasadena.
Gotcha.
He's Mike's one and only black belt.
Okay.
So I started with Joe in 2010 as well. So we were both white belts. He got his black belt in 6 years for the amount of time he was doing it. Legit black belt, right? So I started training with him, and then he promoted me to brown belt in December 2021. Okay. He moved out to Rancho Cucamonga. He was like, I do not want you to stop training. I need you to find a place and spread jiu-jitsu. And that's where I came across Legacy. Before that, it was Professor Tarka. He goes, hey, brother, come to Sunday Confessions. I was like, what is that? He was like, Sunday Confessions, just show up on Sundays. I was like, cool, right? So I was
going on downstairs right now, right?
You know, it's
As
like,
we speak.
yeah, it was like that open invitation from Professor Tarka. It was like, I seen his teaching. I known Professor Tarka when he had hair, right? When he was a purple belt, he was competing against another teammate of mine. That relationship that they have, like, we kind of bonded too, right? He is a principal, right? And then I'm a teacher. I was like, oh, you're the
Been
baddest.
in education forever. Yeah.
You're the baddest principal on the planet.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So like I can be called the baddest teacher on the planet, right? So it's like his invitation to me like kind of opened up the doors, and you know, like seeing all the professors and all the like the people here at Legacy, it was just like, this is a family. Like they all have jobs. At the end of the day, they can leave and then they can come back, and it's like the scheduling is just like it's tailored for like people that can sacrifice the schedule, right? So it's like, all right. So I joined Legacy in February of 2022. So like that was how I came across Legacy.
Gotcha. And where do you live? What area?
I live in Glendale.
Glendale.
So
that's
like
okay.
I live right next door to Forest Lawn.
Okay, gotcha.
So my neighbors are dead quiet. They're dead asleep.
Nice, man. Yeah, it's been. I remember when you first. I remember meeting you at the Sunday Confessions, and then kind of making it official, coming over, and it was great, man.
Yeah, but what was weird was like when you had seminars here, I would sign up. So I was here for the Jeff Gulliver seminars. I was here for the Pete the Greek seminars, and I wasn't a student here, so I would drop the $50 or whatever it was, and I'd pay. And it's like, all right, cool. Like this is the environment. It's like, but then as a teacher, I'm like, why are all the cooler classes at noon? I was like, why are all these special guests at noon? I go, I can't leave the classroom. This is not fair. Like, oh, he's coming here. It's like, it's at noon. I was like, I can't leave. Sorry, kids, I can't leave you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It's because my schedule, so I can see them. Yeah. I should have them run Saturdays, right?
Yeah. It's like, oh, noon class. Oh, I can't make it. I'm feeling sick, so I was like, let me go to the noon class. Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I love about Legacy, the scheduling and like the numerous gyms around like that we have, right? It's just like I can go to Glendale. I live like half a mile from the gym, but then it's like the scheduling is conflicting with my schedule. It's like, all right, I just got to go to my 5:30 class with Professor Ricky, and then I can go Sunday Confessions. It's like, all right, it balances out.
Yeah, you're consistent that way.
Like, I mean, because like my son, again, he's active, so I give it up to my wife. I thank my wife for making a sacrifice too, taking him to practice, but then he has practices Monday, Wednesday, so I can't go to practice, so I had to make up taking them to baseball games, football games. So I coach my son too. So I coach him in baseball and flag football.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I appreciate I know you all the sacrifices you make. You're busy, dad. Your work, everything, family life, and I know you make that effort like to come in and train. And it's like I appreciate that. And yeah. It's really nice. We can sit down and just I can hear about your journey, connect more with you. And
I mean,
knowledge.
It's like a business interview. Like it's kind of like awkward because you don't know what question you're gonna be asked, but it's just gotta have it right in the pocket, just ready to answer.
Just be yourself, be authentic, right? Yeah, I didn't realize you came to the Jeff Glovers and the
Yeah.
just right behind you on the painting, right?
Yeah.
And Pete the Creek and all that. What do you like? You've been here, Legacy. Like, what do you feel like is special here? What makes Legacy special?
It's the camaraderie, the community that's built here. I might not know everybody, but then everyone knows somebody.
Somebody that you know.
You know, it's like when they call me, oh, Professor Boogie, it's like, just call me Anton or call me Boogie. It's not, it's like still a surreal moment, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, call me this. And I was like, no, just call me Anton or Boogie. Like, if you know me, just call me Boogie, please. Right? And it's just like, but the camaraderie, like Sunday conventions, especially the Masters too, you can pick every black belt's brain. And it's just like that. It's like you have like 15 black belts downstairs right now. It's just like you can nitpick everything. Like, hey, can you help me out on this? Help me out on this. Because again, we all learn different. And you like a black belt's like game might be tailored somewhat to your game. It's like, oh, yeah, your game looks familiar like mine. So like, let me ask you a couple of questions. And I feel that with every role, with a black belt or any belt, it's just like you learn. You learn. Like, you not only learn from the black belts, you learn from the lower belts too. Like, the white belt might give you something that you never seen before. It's like,
Yeah.
he just spazzed up, but he gave you something like, oh, that's a different look. I never seen that. Let me attack that. It's like, all right. But yeah, the community that's built, that you built under your lineage and under your teachings, like, it's a community that I'm proud to be part of.
Awesome. So how did it feel to get your black belt after all these years? 14 years?
14 years.
14
I
years.
still am in awe about it. It's just like, did it really happen, right? So when you ask me, hey, sign up for the graduation, I go, that's weird because the date wasn't even announced yet. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, sign up. I was like, okay, right? So then I hesitated and I checked, right? And like the date was announced, right? And then it was my nephew's birthday. I'm like, babe, I can't make it, right? And she was like, why? I was like, it's graduation. And like Professor Crane told me to sign up. And I don't know what it means, but I got to be there. And she goes, okay. They were at Legoland that day.
Oh, okay.
They're in Calabasas, or yeah, Calabasas.
Orange County, right?
No, San Diego.
San Diego. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Carlsbad.
Carlsbad. That's right.
And then it
that's
was like, they're there for the day. I'm like, or the weekend actually. I was like, it's weird that you're not here. And then when it happened, when you said my name, I was like, it's a surreal moment. And up there, that massive crowd that you see, you get overwhelmed. And I was like, I forgot to thank my wife. I was like, sorry, like, I forgot to thank you. And it's like, okay, it's okay, right? And I was nervous. But I mean, after 14
It's a lot of emotion, right?
Yeah,
all
it's a
those
lot
people.
yeah, and then hearing you speak, I'm not used to hearing my voice sometimes too, but it's just like after 14 years, you feel this weight lifted off, but then it's put back on because now you have that title of, oh, you're a black belt, so you should know everything. I don't. I don't know everything. I'm back to white belt now. The journey starts now. Again, like, give me another 14 years and we keep at it on, right? So I am proud to be a legacy black belt, and I'm proud to continue the journey, and the grind never stops.
Yeah, love it. What do you think a black belt means?
A black belt means that you are a person that reached the peak, you endured to the end, and you can start over again. That's what it means to me. It's just like, oh, you're a black belt? Yeah, so you can do it all? No, I don't. I can't do it all. I know stuff. I can learn more, right? So then a black belt means to me that you reached here, you can start over and push it again.
That's it. Love it. How does your, when you first started doing jiu-jitsu, how did jiu-jitsu help you then versus like, how does it help you now?
So that saying of, oh, jiu-jitsu saved my life, that whole saying, I don't believe it saves lives. I believe it changes lives. When I first started, I was, 235. And at one point where I got down to like competition weight, I was down to 148.
What?
Yeah. So like
Wow.
that took about, I think it was
148.
yeah.
From wow,
Yeah,
that's
235. So then that
235.
took about like 4 years of training, right? So just hardcore, like going training like 5 times a week, and it's like, all right,
I bet you I wouldn't recognize you at 148.
I'll show you a picture after, and you'll be like, what is that, right? So then, and that was a challenge too. It was like, oh, a 90-day challenge. How much weight can you lose? I was like, well, that challenge, cool. They're like, challenge accepted, right? Yeah, but then it changed from day one till now. It's just like you see the progress, you see the mentality, you see the physicality of it. Like, oh,
Getting in better shape.
better in shape, and it's like better mentally. You're in better mental state.
Mind
It's like,
strong,
all right,
stronger.
your mindset, your growth mindset, right? You have to have it. If you believe in yourself and you trust yourself, things happen. Things happen for a reason. Things come out good. The product is good. You know, it's like that's what jiu-jitsu does for people. It helps you be in situations where it is claustrophobic and it is like, oh, like nerve-wracking. So I'm in this position, I'm feeling suffocated. Like, how do you get out? How do you get out? And you know, like my game has developed over the years. It's like put yourself in these dumb positions and know how to get out. Know how to get out. So if somebody like puts you in that position, it's like, I know how to get out of this. I kept doing it, kept doing it. Why the hell do you keep putting yourself in that dumb position? Because I want to learn how to get out of it. And it's like, all right, well, you try to armbar me, like I know how to get out. You try to triangle choke me, I know how to get out. It's like, all right, cool. That's what. So the growth of your whole mindset and your health, and health is wealth. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's like you want to have a strong mind going into it, and you want to have a strong mind leaving from it.
You know, just because you're younger, right? And like when you first started doing jiu-jitsu, I guess you're in a different age, right? But a different place in your life as well.
Yeah.
So how would you like just you know off the top of your head, thinking back when you were younger, like how did jiu-jitsu help you then?
So it kind of disciplined you where I was 27 when I started.
Okay.
And 27, like late 20s, it was like, oh, you're kind of like getting there, but then you still want to be like in your whole like situation where you're positive, right? And going into the teaching environment, right? So then it was like, if I'm not positive on myself, I'm not going to be a good teacher. Like I can't teach the way I'm teaching because of my whole jiu-jitsu, right? So then it's like, what can I do every day to improve? And it's like, oh, continue to learn. Yeah, so if I went to go back, it's like the learning process of it, the whole learning process of it. Like that's what makes me better as a person from the first years I started till now. So I went jiu-jitsu all in my 30s, and I see the difference. I think
the same, huh? The same.
So like the 2018 was the memorable thing because that's when my son was born, and that's when I got promoted to purple belt, and that's the most fun belt, right? So purple belt is the most fun belt, and it's like you're there. You're either gonna quit now or you're gonna pursue now or pursue after, and you know it's like I use that mentality. It's like I was always labeled as the family member, the black sheep of the family. Like, oh, you're not going to amount to nothing. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. It's like, I'm going to ignore the naysayer. I'm going to ignore the people that tell me I can't do it, and I'll do it. And example would be my late grandfather. He passed away. He goes, my brother, my little brother, was going to be the smart one, right? Going to go through college, whatever. And I use that as fuel. I was like, it's not hate, it's just fuel for my mind saying that I have these people judging me saying I won't be able to do it. And I graduated high school in 2001, and I went to college, Cal State LA, graduated 2006, right? So then I was the first grandson to graduate college.
Oh, wow.
I was the first son to graduate college, first nephew, you name it, I was the first, right? And it was like, I surpassed my cousin, I surpassed my brother in college. I was like, I'm the first one to do this. And like, this is what kind of fueled me, right? Jiu-jitsu did the same thing. Like, oh, you're gonna quit at blue belt. It's like, no, I think I can pursue this and like keep doing it. So that's what I use as fuel. It's like, the people that say that you can't do it, prove them wrong.
Where do you think that comes from? That wanting to prove people.
That came from a long childhood where you had that competitiveness of mentality. Oh, you want to be a better athlete? You got to compete.
Sports.
There's always going to be somebody better than you. There's always going to be someone that's outworking you. You're sleeping, they're grinding. So like you got to flip it. You got to grind. They got to sleep.
Growing up playing sports
Yeah,
helped you develop that mindset
and
to do it.
it's like sports, like team sports, is team effort, right? But jujitsu is an individual effort. Like your teammates are not going to be on the mat with you. It's just you, and it's just like a sport that you have to achieve individually, and like your success is based on your efforts and not the team effort. It's just like it's a difference. Like I see it in my son where baseball, it's a team effort. Flag football is a team effort, but swimming, it's an individual effort. And like, I look at him, I'm like, you're the exact replica of me. Like your whole competitiveness of like, oh, sports and everything. It's like, all right, cool. Like that just helps.
Yeah, yeah. I kept asking you like, what it's done or jujitsu? What has it done for you? I was thinking about one of our black belts here. He was becoming a firefighter, and they call you to interview you or to get reference, right? And he was asking me, like, hey, does he finish what he starts? I was like, well, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. It takes a lot of years. I explained a little bit. He's like, okay, thank you. Does he stay calm under pressure? I was like, well, in jiu-jitsu, you're in bad positions, and if you panic, you that's it, So yeah, he's actually amazing at that. He's a jiu-jitsu black belt. And then actually, I don't think the guy could say anything more or ask me anything more. He's like, okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
That's
And it was a
Fifi,
statement.
right?
What's that?
Fifi?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought that was cool, It's like a statement, of somebody's character.
Yeah. It says a
Make good
lot.
decisions under pressure, right? Under stress.
Yeah. Amazing. It's
Not
amazing.
panicking.
Not panicking, and then you got to be calm, cool. Like play possum sometimes, have a poker face. Like, oh, you're choking me, but it doesn't hurt. Oh, you're going to sleep. No, it doesn't hurt. But did I tap you? No, you didn't. But I mean, under pressure, play that poker face.
Yeah, yeah. So you're a teacher, and what do you recommend as a teacher for students starting out in jiu-jitsu?
For one, it has to be like not up to the parents. Like the parents can force it. Like, oh, I want you to try jujitsu, right? As a student, like if you're in middle school, you can think for yourself sometimes.
I like it that you're thinking from a middle school or
It's like a thinking like, oh, middle school, right? Oh, you have that competitive edge. Like your body's still developing. You're still able to grow mentally, physically, right? And you can use it when you have to, right? The mentality is don't go into the jujitsu thinking that you're gonna get in fights every day and like you're gonna use it every day. It's to humble you as a student, as even if you're a teenager. It's meant to humble you, and you only have to use it when you have to use it, and not be boastful, not be like like prideful. Oh, I know jujitsu, so let's get in a fight. No, like that's what's wrong with like the society today.
Man, humility. That's so huge when they're
what
teenagers.
Professor Sexy Leg said during the graduation. He's like, oh, humility. Like, not a lot of people practice that. They always think that whatever is seen on social media, it has to be done. And everyone's a paparazzi with their phones out. Like, don't be part of the problem. Be the solution, right? So, like, teaching middle school, I'm at a Catholic school. I'm in Hancock Park. In the Hancock Park is like Koreatown and Larchmont area, and my students they live in a bubble. They're protected by mom and dad, and it's just like, oh, they're somewhat privileged, and yeah, I mean, it's just like growing up in Echo Park, Silver Lake Echo Park is like I see a difference. I see a difference in an Echo Park resident and a Hancock Park resident. It's like totally different. When I stepped in 2021 at my elementary school, I'm like, this is like eye opening. It's like these kids like have it like made. It's like they don't have to do much. It's like, all right, well, they never been into a fight. They never seen a fight. It's like, what is reality for them, right? So then telling parents to get their kids involved in the martial art, it doesn't matter what martial art it is. It's just like the child has to be mentally ready for it. Like, oh, to endure the training and all that stuff. Jiu-jitsu for the most part is beneficial. I mean, socially, it's good for kids. It builds a team camaraderie sometimes. But then again, at the end of the day, it's an individual thing. They're not, your teammates are not going home with you. You're going home with mom and dad, and it's like, all right, come back the next day, train. Come back the next day, train. And it all depends on coaches too. I feel that the legacy, like coaching staff for the kids especially, it's growing. And like I see how many kids are here, and it's like, dude, like this is amazing. Like, where was this when we were kids? You know what I mean? It's like you don't have this, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, seeing Kevin over there. Shout out to Kevin for his teens class.
You know, his teens class.
Yeah, middle school, high scores.
You know, that you have to deal with
Doing
that
the work.
attitude.
puts them in their place.
You know? Yeah, pretty cool.
How was it growing up in Echo Park back in your day?
So back in the day, Echo Park, Silver Lake area, it's changed. I mean, growing up, it's like we lived on the top of the Silver Lake Reservoir, right? So then, like on Back Street, and my elementary school was down the street, like down the corner. I used to walk to school, and coincidentally, I ended up teaching there.
Oh wow!
So like what Arnold Schwarzenegger says, give back, right? So like I gave back to my community. But growing up in Echo Park, cool times, like fun times. But you still have that violent nature down the street. But my mom never got us involved with that. My mom was a military mom. Shout out to Joyce Aquino. She retired from the Coast Guard in 2020. 28 years with the Coast Guard and 34 years with the LAPD.
Wow.
So single mom raising 4 boys. That's pretty cool, right? She made sure that we were not going down that path. She made sure her boys were well fed and kept out of trouble. And, you know, like as a kid, you don't appreciate that as much as you see it as an adult and as a parent. But yeah, growing up in Echo Park, there are times where you couldn't go down certain streets. There are certain times where you couldn't like go in these areas because of your skin and your race. And it's like, I'm Filipino. I don't know what harm is that. But then you associate, oh, there's a Filipino gang down the street. It's like, oh yeah, but I'm not associated with them. So like, so be it, right? Then I only spent 1 year out in Lakeview Terrace. 1 year, 1994, moved back here in 95 because of the mere fact in the north.
Lakeview Terrace is like by Silmar, right?
Yeah, so then it was like the Northridge earthquake happened in 94. Packed our stuff up and moved back to LA. Yeah, I mean, I was 11.
Yeah, it's LA. It's still LA.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's not
that's
LA,
in
LA.
the valley, dude. That's like
Upper Valley.
That's like 2 freeways from here, dude. Like
You're
used
LA
to,
boy.
I'm used to walking like to Dodger Stadium, and like
Yeah.
I'm not walking to Handsome Dam. I'm staying local, Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just curious on the scene, Echo Park, and now it's all getting gentrified.
Yeah.
and
It's like
those areas are improving.
that area, Echo Park got gentrified, and then Highland Park too, where our gym was at, off of Nolden in York. There are times where you couldn't even walk down the street, and then we see at the time in the 2010 era, there was like, oh, you can eat here at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's like, that's pretty great. It's like before you couldn't even be out here like at 11 o'clock at night before like the gangs come out. I was like, no, dude, like you can eat now. It's like, cool, dude. Like I'm not eating here.
Flashbacks.
You know, it's like, oh, triggering moments. Like, I'm not coming back. I ain't coming back here at night.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's changed so much, huh? Highland Park
Yeah.
to Echo, everything, all of LA,
Yeah.
right?
Pretty much.
What do you miss?
Miss about Echo Park?
Yeah, just the change. Now that you like changes, like the changes you see
I
in
miss the on the small mom and pop shops.
Mm.
We used to go to the liquor store. Hey, Tony, and hey, give me a pack of cigarettes from my dad. And it's like, we're 11, you're giving us cigarettes. Like, oh, we miss those days, right? And it's just like, oh, bike down to the teriyaki house in Echo Park, and that's a coffee shop now. It's like, but across that now, it's a coffee shop. Across that street is a coffee shop, and it's like, how much more coffee do you guys need in Echo Park? So no, like we miss the small and pop, the mom and pop shops. Like we can go in there. They know you. You're not just a customer. They know you like by name. It's like, oh, say hi to your dad for me. Say hi to your mom for me. It's like, oh, I will. It's like, okay, cool. I mean, I miss those days. Childhood was great. Me and my brothers like were a tight bond. Like we're a band of brothers, and like we grew up, and you know it's like we still are close, and we miss our childhood. Like if we can go back, we would relive the childhood over and over again because we had fun. We had numerous family parties, and we're a big family, and you know so it's like those family gatherings kind of like made everything fun. It's like, oh, you're a kid, but we grew up with the toys, the bikes, and like, oh, mom tells you to go out and play. Don't come back unless you're dirty. All right, take the bikes, jump it off a little hill, and like get dirty. Right? All right, cool. Like that was fun. I miss those days.
Different era now, right?
Yeah. It's like now it's like, oh, you're on your phone. Like,
Yeah.
now we're good. No, get dirty. Like get physical. Like play.
What's the solution to get kids off? Right, you couldn't get the kids to come back home back in the day.
Yeah.
And now you can't get them out of the house.
I mean, I believe like family bonding time is key. Devices should be like put away at a certain time and just like have dinner. Like have dinner at the table. Like don't have dinner. Oh, you're in your bedroom. I'm in the living room. You're in the kitchen. It's like no. Like spend family time together because like family time is it's never promised at the end. Like you can be here gone tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's just like cherish the moments with your family. It's like, oh, if you want to go out, just go out. Like make it a date night with your family. You know what I mean? Like the thing about legacy is the scheduling, right? I can not show up on Wednesday because my son has a football game, and I can be right back the next day, right? Because the schedule opens up. President. And then it's like
President X.
Yeah, right there. Man. Yeah, so it's just like spend family time together. It's like the gym will always be here. Mats will always be here. But your family time, it can be here and it won't be here the next day. Like you just got to cherish no matter what it is. Like spend time with your family. Get out of the house. Like I seen you at the Americana for the Christmas lighting ceremony, right? I was just down the street, and it's like, oh, you're here. But then I knew that the lighting ceremony was happening. But it's like, spend time with your family, right? So it's like we were spending time together as a family. So, all right, cool. Like we just got to make families nowadays have to spend time with each other. Like either get out, go on a hike, do something like spontaneous. I frequently go to Disneyland. It's just all right, Disneyland or Universal. That's our family time. It's like, all right, cool, let's go. Let's go to Disneyland, and it's like, oh, what about jiu-jitsu? It'll be there next week. It'll be there the next day. Like it's not going anywhere. But like my quality time with you guys is. So like my suggestion is go out there and spend time together.
Awesome, love it, man. Well said. Love it. Yeah, family, right? In those times they're going fast.
You know, like
you can't go back in time.
You look at them, and now you told me that your daughters are turning 16 today.
Yeah.
It's like 16. Where does the time go, right?
So fast.
You know.
Awesome, brother. Do you have any like shout outs you want to give anybody?
So shout outs, Professor Crane for having me here and letting me and welcoming me to the Legacy family. Shout outs to my wife, Erica, my kids, Jeremiah and Michaela, my old instructors, Mike and Joe, my new instructors, Ricky and Jeanette, Andrea, Monica, Garo. Yeah, I mean, and all my past, present training partners. You guys made me who I am today because of the roll time, the mat time that we spent. And yeah, I mean, my students at my elementary school, shout out to St. Brendan, go Bears. Yeah, and pretty much it.
Awesome. Love it, brother. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.